Introduction. Now this is also the second key important sections of the manuscript, and it should be also taken care a bit more attention. And most of the authors write these sections in the last as well, right? After abstract, after research and discussion, they also pay more attention to write the introduction, and they prefer to write in the last after completing rest of the manuscript parts. So this introduction should have some flow of your writing. There should be a flow, like some story should be consistent. Story should be there, like arranging some background informations. This much has been done previous research with some references. Narrower background information, need for study, like what kind of study is needed and what is the gap in previous study, that you have to mention there, so that the readers can know, okay, this much has not been done, and the manuscript is highlighting some research findings related to the gap which has been not filled in the past. So that you have to put there. What is the advantages, disadvantages of your present work? Why do you think it should be published? That you have to focus and mention or highlight there. If even simple thing is there, you need to highlight there, like this method. Suppose the same method you are repeating, but you have done some modification of that method, and that reduces the cost or reduces the time. That is also important, and that has to be mentioned in introduction section. And that is how it will be more attractive and effective. Focus of paper, and what exactly you have focused in your manuscript. What findings you are going to get in result and discussion section. What you have focused on, what part of problem you have solved. Then that thing you have to mention in the last paragraph. Okay, this much we have focused, that has not been done yet, or very few works have been done previously. That kind of sentences you need to mention there. And then the editor will focus on that sentence, and based on that they will decide whether your manuscript should be sent for review or not. If you don't write these things, they will simply read your abstract or introduction, and they will just reject some, giving some reasons like, okay, we have heavily occupied with the manuscript this year, and sorry, we regret to decline your manuscript, reject your manuscript. Maybe you can find some other journal, something like that they will say. So don't do such mistakes. Summary of the problems, that is the selling point. Means what problem you have solved that has been not solved yet or previously, that you need to highlight there. Okay, this much problem was there, and part of the problem you have solved, that is okay, because you cannot conclude the research is going on, something like that. And if even 5% problem you have solved, but you need to highlight that, okay, it has been not solved and we have solved that, may and how it can benefit for future work and technology. That you need to highlight in introduction. So most of the details just read the abstract and up to introduction only. If you don't write it very well, then they will simply reject it. They don't even send it for review process. So these two sections should be taken care of a lot, and I give you the tips, like you try to write it in the last after you complete all the sections of the manuscript, so that you can focus more and more on these sections to make it more impressive. What are the common mistakes that authors do when they write the introduction? Too much or not enough information. They write too much information. Like people do this one, that one, that one, that one. Means if they like something like a story, like review paper. Too much information is also bothering the editor. They cannot read your all things 3 to 5 pages, and if you irritate the editor, simply they are going to reject your paper. Don't irritate them. Unclear purpose. They don't clear. Miss novelty is not clear. What exactly you are going to do. What problem you have solved. That is not clear throughout the introduction. They are just writing. But there is no paragraph in the introduction which can clearly tell what exactly you have done in the research, or you have presented in the manuscript. So you need to clearly mention the problem that you have solved and what novelty that you think is there that has to be presented in the manuscript. Lists. They also put list there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You don't have to do that. Confusing structure. Confusing structure is sometimes they talk about some other thing, another time they talk about some other story. That is not, there is no flow of your statement. There is just some flow of your statement. There should be some story. If you read the introduction, it should be connected. The next sentence should be connected to the previous sentence. It's not like if you talk about something like OB Jindal University is very good institutions, and other time you are talking about some other things that is not related to academic institutions. So that is not related to your previous sentence. Don't write such things. The previous sentence should be connected to the next sentence. That is called the flow of your language. That has to be there in introduction section. First person encoders. Most of the authors they do such mistakes. Like they quote this sentence. I was the first who find this. Don't write such sentences. It's exaggeration. You are not the first. Some exaggerated sentences they write like, I was the first who found this research, who found this result. Don't write such sentences. That is not a good writing of introduction. These are the common mistakes that people do. And general tips for the introduction. See, introduction and conclusions are hardest parts. Look at the red part that I have written here. Introductions and conclusions are the hardest parts. Many technical writers prefer to write their introductions last because it is too difficult to craft that balance of general context and specific focus required for a good introduction. So most of the authors they prefer to write it in the last, so that they can focus more and more and they can conclude what exactly they should write there. That is the key story of your manuscript. That is the key story of your manuscript. Make your writing flow and resonate. That I told you previously. You should write in such a way that there is a flow in your writing. Like the first sentence should be connected to the next sentence, and next sentence to be connected to the next sentence. There should be very nice story. Okay, this much has been done. Then people they do this much. They do not find this much. That. Your sentence should not be deviated from previous sentence. Like sometimes you talk about something and in other sentence you are deviating from your previous statement. So there should be flow in your writing in introduction section. So pay more attention in writing introduction, abstract, and finally the conclusion. And many technical writers prefer to write it in the last. And why they are doing that, you have understood why they are doing so. Methods. Now this is the next section of your manuscript. Methods means what kind of methods you have used for your study. That could be experimental methods, computational or theoretical methods as well. That you have to mention clearly. provide instruction on exactly how to repeat experiment. Means most of the editors or readers, they want you to present all the data of experimental methods so that they can use your paper to reproduce the data. But you know, most of the authors, they don't even they don't like to disclose their methods. They hide something. That is not the good way. It don't be cited much. So try to mention all the information so that if I read your paper, I can reproduce the same findings. Okay. Sample preparation techniques. What kind of techniques you have used for sample preparation? Sample origins. Where from you have purchased your samples? What is the impurity? How pure your sample is? That data you need to give. Field site description in case of other subjects like English, social science, field site description, what site you have visited, describe that properly. Data collection protocol is what method you have used for data collections. What protocol you have adopted to collect the data if you go for field site. Data analysis techniques, what kind of techniques you have used to analyze the data. Any computer programs you have used that you have to mention clearly. Description of equipment and its use. And briefly, you have to describe what equipments you have used. Like if you use XRD, X-ray diffraction technique, then you have to write for structural and crystallinity investigation. We have used X-ray diffraction technique. Means why did you use that technique? That you have to mention 1-2 lines. After you have used photoluminescence spectrometer, then you need to mention, okay, for luminescence property study, photoluminescence study property, we have investigated the material using fluorospectrometer or something like that. So that readers can know. You might be knowing that is equipment is for this purpose, but what about the readers? They don't know. You need to let them know. Okay, this technique is used for photoluminescence property or optical property. That you have to mention them. But for that is how your article should be more impressive and effective, and readers can understand and they can cite your paper. They can learn something new from your paper and can get more citations. The common mistakes that authors do mostly, too little information, that I told you previously. They hide their information, okay, what methods they have used. Sometimes they intentionally hide what techniques they have used, so that because they don't want you to reproduce. But that is not a good way. They think that once you know, you can also start the work, and your work will be diluted and you cannot do further experiment. Don't think like that. Citation is also important. You are publishing means you are making it open for people, and they should learn something from your paper. So don't hide the information. Too little information means give as much information as possible so that they can use your information to reproduce the data exactly. Information from introduction. Sometimes some information is included in methods from introduction. That is not the correct way. Don't do that. Verbosity means exaggerated sentences. Results are source of error reported. They also include the content of results or sources are error reported. Result and discussion section part is also included in methods. So that should be avoided. The results are error reported. These are the results and discussion section. These data should be incorporated in results and discussion section, not the method sections. That you need to take care of.